Hey, welcome back to Funniest People You've Never Heard of. There's Todd.
Everyone.
I'm Peter. Today, our guest is Maddie Mays. She's having a spectacular year. Her act, we get into it a little bit. She's focusing a little bit more on being clean, but she's, what would you say, Todd? She's pretty raunchy?
Not today. Well, I mean, yeah, she brought exactly what you can find from her, but it's good to know she's evolving and finding new ways to make people laugh. I mean, I've seen your performances, if you want to call it that, multiple times.
Right.
You're not too dirty. Do you? How dirty can you get?
No, I don't get too dirty. I mean, if you're talking dirty, but you're talking about the time. This one time recently, in the last couple months, a buddy of mine, he was visiting. So we pull out the pull-out couch from the sofa, and we had been drinking that night, and he like pissed all over my pull-out mattress.
That's more unsanitary than dirty, maybe.
Yeah, no, he thought it was a joke. That's kind of, you know what's weird?
He thought peeing on your couch and leaving was a joke.
He was not taking it seriously. He's like, it's no big deal.
I won't be sleeping at Peter's house anytime soon.
You know what's not funny is how delicious tequila especial is.
It's no joke.
It's no joke. Tequila especial. Feel free to hit pause, lower the lights, light a candle, and pour yourself a glass or grab an entire bottle of tequila especial. Every episode is made infinitely funnier and more palatable.
And sexier.
With tequila especial. Todd, where can we find some of this online?
You could go to www.tequilaespecial.com and pick up a bottle today. I personally have stopped drinking because I woke up in the back of a Japanese tour bus. I said, this is enough. This is the low point. And 15 years later, I stopped drinking.
Well, okay. You can start or stop whenever you want. But hey, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Find us on YouTube, Spotify, and TikTok, as well as Instagram. And right now, enjoy our chat with Maddie Mays. Hey, everybody. He's right behind me, isn't he? Welcome to the show. I'm Peter. This is Funniest People You've Never Heard of. We got Todd in the outfield, and today's guest, the very funny, the very wonderful, the globe-trotting artist known as Maddie Mays. Maddie, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm great. I'm
Awesome.
having a good day.
Thanks for coming on the program.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Before we get into anything, please tell the people where they can find you on all corners of the internet.
Well, all corners. Burner accounts. I'm not going to name those.
Sure, yeah.
But no, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter on @Maddie Mays. It's MADDI MAYS. And then TikTok, I think, is Art of Maddie Mays.
Ooh, okay.
I thought it was going to be an art drawing account. Ended up just being what it was.
You're an artist. You're an artist in many ways. So this is the Funniest People You've Never Heard of, but more people have been hearing about you this year than ever before. So how has this year been for you? And what was the moment where you started getting a lot more social media attention?
I mean, I had a clip that went viral that was about how it's hard being a bad bitch when you're autistic. And a lot of people didn't believe me, which I thought was really funny.
Really?
Yeah, it was very polarizing. A lot of people like... There's also, because there's the this bitch is lying, and there's also this bitch isn't funny, and then that. So I got a lot of hate on Twitter, but TikTok, it was very supportive.
Yeah, it's hard being a bad bitch when you're autistic. Yeah, it's because nobody believes you. Just like, damn, just because I'm sexy don't mean I can't be on the spectrum. That's ableist. And the problem with that, though, is that every time I talk about this, there's always people like, oh, we don't believe you. We're not really on the spectrum. You're not really on the spectrum. And I'm just like, bitch, I'm functional. Yo, I'm so functional. I'm trained. I had to train. I built this. I built this social battery, y'all. I earned this. I worked so hard. But when my social battery runs out, I'm going outside, I'm picking up some cool rocks, and I'm putting them in my pocket. Bitch, I be clinking and clanking at the club. Y'all don't understand. I be at the club, they're like, ma'am, is this a firearm? I'm like, no, it's actually a metamorphic rock. And they're like, you said a Glock? No, a rock. Please, sir, I need it to feel safe.
Yeah, I blew up on TikTok first because of the support and a lot of like undiagnosed or like masking autistic girls like were like, oh yeah, like I relate to this so hard.
Right.
I think the fact that many people saw it, and regardless, it made people feel something, which I think is cool. But when it first happened, I was depressed for like 3 days.
Really?
I read everything.
Everything.
And I learned that I should not do that.
Like, don't read the comments.
Don't read that. Don't do it. Like even the good ones, like don't read. Like don't read anything. And then I realized because I'm a little delusional anyway, so I was like, oh, so I could just operate with just a little bit, like 5% more delusion of just not looking at anything, and so it made it way easier. And then after that, like now I just don't care.
Yeah.
So, but it was since that happened, it's been cool because you realize how many more people actually do fuck with you than hate you.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's been nice.
And meaning to say, in the internet world, there are more positive comments, but the negative ones seem to stick out.
Well, it depends on the platform. Okay. Because Twitter, they're like, this dumbass light-skinned bitch is not funny, and then
that sounds like Twitter.
Yeah,
that sounds very Twitter.
Yeah, it was very that on Twitter.
So Twitter is
your racist uncle.
Yeah, and she's not.
But they also want to fuck. So definitely racist uncle. You know what I mean? Like, they also want to fuck. So that's other.
Yeah. What is it like?
Well, because also what happened was, not to name drop, it's just part of the lore now. So Drake had liked the video. And
where? On what platform?
On Instagram.
On Instagram.
And so somebody screenshotted, said, y'all, it's too late. And then that also went viral. So it was both things at the same time.
Okay, so Twitter, you know, people are flirting with you aggressively, thinking you're gonna like.
Yeah, I got people saying they want to eat my discharge. It's nasty.
So then, what's the Instagram comments like?
Well, in the DMs is like that. Okay. but publicly, it's a lot more just like like laughing. People just being more like generic, because I think people can see.
Yeah.
Everything.
It's like, you got a wife, man. Like, you know, you can't be in this public.
There's many of those. There's a lot of marriages we could.
You're getting in the middle of a lot of marriages.
Yo, that could be a whole new podcast. Just ruining marriages.
And so what's TikTok? You said is most supportive?
Yeah, everybody's really, really supportive on TikTok. Because it's all a bunch of just like neurodivergent young bitches like me. So it's like, okay, like, yeah, like they're here. They understood what I was saying. So, but cool. It's cool because I think it garnered a lot of traction because it's also a niche thing, but it's a large niche thing. Just like that particular community, and I think they were like, oh, one of us. And I think they like that.
You know, I mean, we're talking about a lot of broad topics, but essentially what everybody is trying to have that's, you know, posting anything online is like the word that first comes up is engagement. And that really translates to people fighting in the comments. Yeah. Or, you know, there's not a lot of like, you know, there's roast battle. There's not a honey roast battle. Like, you know, it's not like a sweet, you know, type of a thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a competition to see who can say the nicest thing. So, you know, that's kind of like how the internet exists there. And so, you know, for you, you know, you had those 3 tough days, but then you know, that's kind of cool that you mentioned you operate off of delusion. And I feel like in some degree, we all have to do that in the arts. Yeah. And like, you know, when did you first discover that, or like put that into a sentence where you're like, okay, this is a part of me?
Delusion?
Yeah.
I think I always have been that way, because I think I've always been someone that just kind of looks around the room, that's not really paying attention, but also I'll like just lock in on certain things. So I think I just always kind of maneuver that way. But I think when it came to more like if you're in a room and everybody's kind of looking at you, you could either call it out, or you can kind of just be like, I'm gonna just act like nobody's looking at me. And then, you know, or like when you get on stage and like comfortability and things like that, you just like, I'm just gonna look at foreheads. It's the same kind of, you know, like, and not look people in the eyes, but like, or over time you just get more comfortable with it, and then you feel like, okay, I can do this with less delusion and more, because I think it's as a comedian, I'm sure you can relate. It's like you kind of operate in a sense of like, you know, this is that.
Yeah. If there's, yeah, exactly. That's my language. Yeah. But if there's,
I'm good.
There's one thing. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Listeners, I don't know if you're on our frequency, but you know, we're connecting. There's one thing to be delusional. There's one thing to be conscious of your delusion and then using it as a tool.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. What's, you know, for you, what has it meant to kind of like be this online lightning rod about like people on the spectrum? How does that inform your writing lately? And, you know, how do you take that?
I mean, it's been interesting because since I was diagnosed, I sort of have been unmasking. And so I care less and less about, and my filter, because I don't know if I ever really had a filter, but I do think that now I just care less about whatever that is.
Yeah.
And so I've been able to just kind of, and I think when it comes to writing, I just write whatever I would think is funny.
Yeah,
so.
and unmasking meaning you're not like hiding.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, because I used to operate. I used to be very, very aware of how I was being perceived in spaces, and I would just get really like socially uncomfortable. And I think as I've sort of started unmasking, I kind of just like, I don't care anymore.
That's amazing. Yeah, Todd from the outfield.
I'm curious about something. Do you find that you've changed your act at all once you went viral? Like, did you become more self-aware, or did you feel like the audience was now coming out specifically for you with a certain expectation or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people wanted to hear that joke. A lot of people wanted to hear that joke. Like, it was like, because that's an interesting thing is like, when it comes to internet comedy, it's like being Ice Spice and everybody wants to hear Munch. And it's like, I don't want to do much no more. Like, I don't want to do much.
You are the Ice Spice of comedy.
That's what people are fucking saying.
Everyone's saying
and
that.
I'm like, what, do I look like I have a fucking poop fetish to y'all? Like, that's crazy. Like, I'm right here talking about Dookie. Like, we're the Dookie Queen. What the fuck?
I could see those memes. The Dookie Queen. You're the Dookie Queen. But so that's a fascinating
I'm
thing.
not the Dookie Queen.
Okay,
I want everybody here to, we're going to clear, I'm not the Dookie Queen.
Listen, that's for them to decide, okay? You can't choose your nickname. So as the Dookie Queen, I gotta ask you, you were surprised to find that people wanted to see you do that joke that they had already seen.
Well, I think it's just the social media era of comedy, because I literally have come up in the social media era of comedy. I was around comedy before I started, but I wasn't like doing it. And so starting in this particular era and like with videos potentially going viral and like clips and stuff, and that's how people know you, it's weird because I don't want to get up there and just do crowd work, but I also don't want to do material that I've put online.
Yeah, but people are embracing that and they want to sing along to the joke.
But they
basically.
want that, yeah.
And you've experienced that.
I got to headline in San Francisco, and that was really cool. And when I did it, there was this comic that I met. I did his podcast. Shout out, I believe he's really dope. He basically was like, "Oh, are you gonna do the joke?" And I was just like, I don't know. He goes, "No, you should do the joke. Everybody wants to hear it." And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll do it. And then he goes outside, and there's apparently people like waiting to see me, which is new, which is so cool. New. It was crazy. It wasn't a lot, but it was like people that came, and that was like really freaking cool. And I heard him go, "She's gonna do the joke," and then people were like, "Yeah," and I was like, "What?" And I did it, and I was like, it's hard. But it's funny because now I am referencing that without having to do it. So like I've been doing material where I'm like, I recently had a video go viral, and then I'm like, it's about how then I'd say the line. And that's all I really need to do. And then there are people that maybe are watching me that hadn't seen me before, but saw that video. Yeah. And we're like, and after the show, they're like, "Oh, wait, when you said that, I remembered." And then from there, it connects dots. So I think it's like a fun hack to kind of like do it without doing it.
That's so fun. That's really cool. And so then, I mean, you're no stranger to travel, raised in Texas, right? Outside of Houston?
No, in Houston.
In Houston, okay. Houston
not
proper.
The city, but like.
Okay. Okay, you lived with Beyonce. I get it.
Yeah, she's like my aunt.
Let's have that go into your Wikipedia page.
Yeah. Let's start the lore. We'll start that. Yeah. But
this year, you've also had the opportunity to perform in a few different places outside of Los Angeles. What's it been like, performing, in different cities?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love going on the road. It's like, honestly, like, because it was my first time being able to do it, and it felt so good to get out of LA, because I think everybody in LA, you get different pockets of people, but I think it just moves so much quicker. Yeah. So I feel like when you get outside, there's so many people that come really to like laugh and to have a good time. So like the first city I performed outside of LA was in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And that was like so much fun.
Great.
It was so much fun. But then like going down into the South and like seeing like, okay, let me tweak this way. Let me see how this works here.
South meaning?
The South.
Okay, so like Mississippi, Arkansas?
No, I was in Texas.
Texas.
Yeah, so like San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, Austin, and then I did Nashville.
Okay, great. Wow, yeah.
And like that's the South. And
Okay.
like I loved it because I'm from the South. So
Yeah.
it's like it felt like home. But it also like made me realize just like universal comedy and how important universal comedy is. I love how you react to everything I say. You're very,
I'm paying attention. Yeah, sorry.
He's a walking meme.
I'm like,
he's like, what? Delusion?
Listen, if you're not accustomed to men listening to you, we need to do better, guys.
No, I'm not.
Let's do better. Where is the bar? That's fascinating.
Just look at his forehead. You won't be distracted.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Sorry.
right.
Yeah, there you go.
When you raise your eyebrows,
Yeah.
like,
He has no forehead.
What's interesting about exactly? Oh no, he's a puppet. What's fascinating is so I have a lot of jokes about Florida, right? But when I'm in
you're from
Florida,
Florida, right?
Yes, exactly. But when I am in Florida performing, I can't just say, well, Florida in general. I've got to say Fort Myers, Florida, or Sarasota, Florida. I've got to like call out those cities because everyone in Florida thinks that their city is just a little bit better than the other city, but we're all just kind of like scraping the barrel. And so for you to go through Texas and the South, you must feel like you have a shared like relationship with those people already. And so, I mean, it sounds like you've only been more encouraged to be yourself through all these things that you've been going through this year. And what do you look like? How do you feel now compared to like 12 months ago?
oh my God, I feel like I'm just 2 months ago.
Yeah.
I just feel like a significantly better comedian just going on the road. Just
Yeah.
like you just feel, and then you get to like I also too, I've noticed like I'm more confident with people I don't know than people I do know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like even like I remember my sister used to do this thing, like we go to like Taco Bell and she'd be like, go inside and get 20 sauce packets. I'd be like, okay.
As a dare?
Yeah, she just do shit like that. My
cute,
sister just
yeah.
like do weird dare shit like that. She just be like, okay, all right, now go do this. And I'd be like, okay.
Have you been to a Taco Bell cantina?
No,
Like
I
a
want
special
to.
one that
I
serves
want
alcohol?
to. Bro, I'm trying to go and fucking get like you know when you go to Chili's and
Yeah.
you get like hella margaritas
Yes.
and you just fucking get stupid. I'm trying to do that at the Taco Bell cantina.
Do like some normcore stuff.
Yeah.
That's I think what you got to do when you're on the road too. That's what chain restaurants exist
It's
for.
amazing.
'Cause it's-
Normcore stuff
Yeah.
is so underrated.
Yes.
It just makes you feel so like, yeah.
Yeah, this exists for a reason there.
Yeah.
For our
like-
less hip audience and also me, can you explain what normcore is?
Yeah, what's your definition of normcore essentially?
So you know like normal shit?
Yes.
Okay, I could have guessed that.
Just I guess like chain restaurants and like a guy wearing a polo shirt with khakis and like
Yeah.
new
ballet
Like a less
yeah.
judgy version of the word basic, maybe.
So there's a difference.
Okay.
Right. So basic is like live, laugh, love, very white girl coded,
Right.
kind of very chuggy. That's a new word for it. Normcore is much cooler than that. It's like, think about like diners, dive-ins, and dash.
Yes.
Fucking going and doing like I'm gonna go to AMC with my membership. I'm like wearing jorts. Like it's
Okay.
fucking
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jorts for sure.
But everything I'm saying is a little bit more edgy, like edgy normcore. But
So, people that are listening to this, whether they're comics or not, they'll be thinking, well, yeah, of course, I'd love to travel for work. I'd love, what's that first step? Does somebody reach out to you and they're like, hey, I saw this clip, or hey, we think you're funny. Do you want to open? Do you want to feature? Blah, blah, blah. What was that first step and how did that come about?
well, I mean, so I was opening for Cam, and
Okay.
like that's my friend,
Really?
Yeah. So like,
Cam, who's featured on Kill Tony, right? And he lives in Austin now?
yeah, he lives in Austin. Yeah.
Great. And so he's
But-
at the mothership?
Yeah. But he basically like we just became friends at the store because we both like rock. So it was just sort of like a
Okay, so Cam reaches out to you
yeah.
and he's like,
Well, so we met at the store, and then like I think the next time he was here, because I was doing my show at Third Wheel, I was doing the little monthly, and I
Yeah.
asked him if he wanted to do a spot, and he's like, yeah, and he's like, do you want to do a spot on my show? And I was like, all right, bet. And then he
Yeah.
saw me, thought I was funny, and then like I think like a month or two later, he was like, yeah, come do San Francisco, and I was like, all right, bet. And then it was like, all right, you killed. if you want to do more dates, just let me know. Whatever dates you can fly yourself to, come do them. I was like, all right, bet. So I was like, I'm gonna take July and just go be on the road.
And that's awesome. And then when you're on stage, when do you decide, all right, I'm doing the Club 5 or I'm doing like the Clean 5 or whatever it is?
Well, I mean, actually, honestly, I'm just now developing more clean material.
Oh, why's that?
I just like, I realized, because I'm very raunchy. I'm kind of nasty.
Yeah, you are.
I'm real fucking.
You kind of are.
I'm disgusting. Like, and people don't. It's like I talk about cutting off a piece of my coochie.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that joke. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just and it's a true story. But I think it's just funny because it's visceral, and I think the reaction is fun. But I'm also realizing too, like I can be funny without being disgusting.
Sure.
Been thinking about Nepo babies lately. And I think people are like threatened by Nepo babies, only when they're talented. Because everybody was getting mad at Blue Ivy for doing her little, I'm like, let the little girl dance, she's 11. She don't know how to use her limbs yet, she figured it out. She's gonna get tight, Give her 2 years. We got a lot of untalented Nepo babies too, though. I feel like Tom Hanks probably has to call Chet all the time. He's like, but Juan, Chet, what are you doing? You're being a bumbleclot. You are a tool. Tom Hanks is in Twister. I don't know, I've been thinking about like, who was like the best Nepo baby? Like, my favorite, who was probably the most talented, and low-key the first, was Jesus. That was God's son. It don't get more nepotistic than that.
All the people that I was on the road with all have very just wild raunchy material. So
Really?
It's like I was like, I can get away with saying, so I really took the time being on the road, just like, all right, let me just see what this feels like, see what it feels like doing what and being myself in front of like different rooms. And by the end of my time on the road, I kind of have a feeling on how to sort of maneuver. Yeah. But I didn't really change. I'll be honest with you. I was not reading the room for real.
Really?
I was not reading the room. I was just kind of going. And now coming back, I can read the room and still be myself, which is kind of what I've been like learning to do.
Now, what is it that you're focused on? Do you want to have another clip, be as successful as that? Or, are you working on that headlining thing? And, you said, you're talking about your material being either clean or dirty. Like, what's the next, like, goal for you?
I mean, I'm not worried about online stuff, just because, like, I really don't post that often.
Right.
And I'm grateful that when I do post, it does well. Like, and I'm grateful for that. But I'm not really worried about going viral as much, just because it's like, I'm still so new to comedy.
Sure.
And I just want to get really good at it. Like, I just care so much about the craft. And so I think now I'm at a point where I'm like, all right, let me be funny without having to rely on like jokes about sexuality, jokes about being raunchy, jokes about sort of nasty things that are a little bit more visceral and reactive. Because like those are great at points, but as I've been incorporating material that isn't as that, it's just me being just silly or just like things that I think that aren't dirty, mixed in with the dirty, I think has created a whole new dynamic that I think I really, really enjoy. So I'm sort of exploring that. I used to work at a dispensary, and you could have wild conversations with people at a fucking dispensary. And so I would work out material just on them, just with like certain things, like, okay, and I'd like introduce an idea or whatever, and then have a conversation.
That's crazy. Yeah. What did you have like is there like a memorable conversation that you had or interaction you had at a dispensary?
The one that's not material related, there was like this like couple from Boston, and they were just like, oh, so we're visiting from Boston, it had the really thick fucking accent.
And they're like, is this legal? They're like whispering a little.
We want a joint. We want to smoke stuff that's gonna get us really high. We want to be really high.
They're like, are the cops here?
Yeah, they were, but they were like, and the wife was so funny because she was like, you're just so pretty. what are you? Are you Honduran? My son, she has a wife. She's Honduran. Or what is she?
Honduran.
Or what is she? Or she Honduran? Or what's her family from the Galapagos or something? And I was just like, oh no, I'm mixed. I'm black, Filipino, white. She goes, oh, what is she? Who's she Filipino? She's asking her husband, was she Filipino? I don't. But here's a photo of her. She looked exactly like me. It was actually kind of crazy.
Really?
She actually looked like me. So I was like, all right, that's okay.
Yeah.
You're not being racist. Like
Sure.
you're being a little. You just don't know.
She was racist, but she got lucky. She got lucky, basically. Yeah.
She was being a little racist, but she also wasn't wrong. Like
Right,
she
yeah.
wasn't incorrect.
Do you find yourself putting your, illustrations and artwork into your comedy, and how has that influenced, what you talk about on stage?
I mean, no, this is actually the first time.
Yeah.
So I was drawing before, like anything. That was the first thing I ever did. And recently, because I'm about to do, this is obviously before it's gonna be after it comes out, but I'm having my birthday show at the Improv, so it's gonna be really cool. But I wanted it's my first show. That's my first Maddie Mays and Friends show. So I was like, I would like to draw all of those flyers, and because I want it to look like manga covers, like Bleach and Soul Eater. I really like the white background with like the one character, because it's simple but it's like dynamic and fun. And I think it'd be fun to like have different volumes of it.
Yeah.
It's just I like the way it looks, and I think it represents just like me.
That's you.
Yeah,
you're unique, and
but it's a cool way to sell art too. Cause
that's cool too.
Yeah, because I want to be able to sell prints.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, listen, if anybody has any doubts whether you're autistic, just listen to this conversation we just had. Well, Maddie, like we like to close out every show. This is the funniest people you've never heard of. We would love if you could refer one of your friends or someone you think we should have on the program.
You need to get Dante Cordova.
Dante Cordova. Yes. Why Dante? Why Dante?
Dante is someone who I think is one of the funniest fucking people that deserves so much more recognition.
Yeah.
He's so fucking ridiculous.
Really? Like how?
He has this one joke. Like we were talking about act outs.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
The topic of like acting out and fully committing to a bit, and when nobody's laughing and you have to like get up, you have to get off the fucking floor,
right?
And nobody's laughing and you fucking committed to it. But he's like, he has this one joke where he like literally gets on the floor. He goes like, "Do you think Drake texts like this?" And he like lays on the ground and like kicks his feet like that. And then he has this one where he talks about just like having to figure out whether or not he was like gay or not. And he's like, yeah, like men like suck your dick, like no vowels, all consonants, they suck. And I'm like, and it's he's so fucking funny. So it's like
and that's his part of his clean set.
I mean,
yeah.
He's censoring some of the letters, you know what I mean? So there's like asterisk, So but he's great. He's great. So
well, good. All right. Yeah. Well, thanks for that, and thanks for chatting here today. Really appreciate it, Maddie, Todd from the outfield. My name's Peter. This is Funniest People You've Never Heard of, and thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. See us on the next episode. Take care. Funniest People You've Never Heard of is a production of Toby or Not Toby Productions. Executive producer, Todd Fields. Producer and host, Peter Murphy. Studio space provided by Third Wheel. Theme song written and performed by Justin Fields. Brought to you by Tequila Especial. Don't forget to like and subscribe.